Better.
Okay, so the chapter I have is Canto 8, Chapter 8, which is Churning of the Milk Ocean. So there's 46 verses in this chapter, but the pastime is heavily linked with chapters 5 to 12. So for the seminar, for the 3-day seminar, I thought it's best to kind of incorporate them all. So on day 1, we'll talk about setting the scene. So it's about the background, like why the churning of the Milk Ocean pastime takes place, along with also talking about how the first thing that comes out is poison, and Shiva accepts the poison. Second day, we'll start talking about chapter 8 itself, which talks about the churning of the Milk Ocean, what comes out, and going into details around some of the items that come out, but specifically wanting to focus on the Sorobi Cow, as well as Lakshmi Devi that comes out of the churning. Then on day 3, we talk about, near the end of chapter 8, it's described around how Dhanvantari comes out with nectar. And there's a nice elaborate explanation of Dhanvantari's appearance to talk about that, as well as the Mohini Murti form of the Lord, which incarnates purely to basically cheat the demons who steal the nectar for themselves. And it's described, and we'll talk about in day 3, how Mohini Murti is so attractive, the female form of the Lord is so attractive that even Shiva gets attracted. So day 1, setting the scene, covers from Canto 8, Chapter 5, verse 15 until Canto 8, Chapter 6, verse 31. And the key verse is from 620. So that's, O demigods, fulfilling one's own interests is so important that one may even have to make a truce with one's enemies. For the sake of one's self-interest, one has to act according to the logic of the snake and the mouse. So on day 1, we'd start talking about how the backstory of the churning of the ocean. So how the Rasa Muni had cursed Indra based off of Indra being very puffed up and disrespecting the Rasa Muni because of his material opulences. And because of this, the demigods lose all their opulence, and such that the asuras overpower them. And the philosophical point that we can really learn from this is how material opulences cause us to commit offenses if we're not careful. And another example that we can see here is the sons of Kuvera during the pastime of the Damodar Leela in Krishna's pastimes. So the demigods kind of, see the situation, but they're not able to find a solution to any of this to try and come back into power. So they go and seek guidance from Brahma. And we can see here that even the demigods are taking guidance from the higher authorities, from Guru Sadhu Shastra, for life's problems, right? To find solutions to life, the major problems of life, they go to higher authorities. So Brahma then chastises Indra for his misdeed, which is quite natural. And, we can see even now, like gurus, elevated sadhus, they will chastise us for anything that we do wrong, but that's all in the intent of helping us grow. But Brahma is also concerned about the welfare of the 3 worlds. And so he thinks that it's best to approach the Supreme Personality Godhead here. Now, the question may be raised, well, why does it matter? Like demons, fair and square, they won. They're beating the demigods, therefore they should be in power. But and this is what Brahma is thinking here, is that, okay, the demons are by nature very selfish. They're more concerned about themselves, their sense gratification. Whereas the demigods are by nature devotees. So they're actually concerned about the welfare of society, welfare of everyone in general. So it's actually not good for the state of the 3 worlds for the demons to be in power. And therefore Brahma's view, and also we'll see later on that Supreme Personality Godhead also wants the demigods to be in power. And we can give an example here around comparing modern governments who are still very much focused on their own enjoyment, their own sort of need for name, fame, power, etc., to personalities in what we see in Srimad Bhagavatam, like Yudhishthira Maharaj's reign, or Parikshit Maharaj, or Rishabhadev Bharat Maharaj, etc. And we see that Brahma also approaches his higher authorities when even the problem that is at hand is beyond him. So he's not coming up with his own suggestions, he's approaching his own Guru Sadhu Shastra. And we see here that the highest authority is approached, Supreme Personality of Godhead. So moving forwards, there's very nice prayers by Brahma to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which we could elaborate and talk about, and Hari becomes pleased from this elaborate description of the prayers. The beautiful form of Hari is described, and in the prayer itself, Brahma even starts talking about how the ultimate goal of life is achieved by the darshan, or by seeing of the Lord. So Brahma recognizes here that the highest perfection of life is seeing the Lord. So the situation at hand is put forward to the Lord, and the Lord suggests, because he wants to enact a pastime, basically, that he suggests that the demigods make a truce with the demons. The demons and asuras being in power right now is because they are more powerful, right? Time is favoring the demons. So it's only kind of logical in a sense that the demigods make a truce with them to try and attain higher powers. And here is where the key verse for today comes in, where for the sake of one's self-interest, one has to act according to the logic of the snake and the mouse. So in verse 20 of chapter 6, Srila Prabhupada describes the story or analogy of a snake and a mouse being stuck in a basket. So if a snake and mouse are stuck in a basket, the snake can't get out and the mouse can't get out. So what happens is that, okay, normally the mouse is food for the snake. But in this case, the snake realizes that it needs the mouse to get out. The mouse can, bite its way out of the basket to save itself. So the snake makes a truce with the mouse to say, okay, you get us out and I won't eat you. So the mouse makes its hole, and as soon as the hole is done, the snake eats the mouse. So here, this analogy is given for us to understand, and also in the pastime for the demigods to understand that temporarily we may have to sometimes make a truce with enemies, but that temporary requirement is for a higher purpose. In the case of the snake and the mouse, it's to get out of the basket, otherwise they both die. So the Supreme Personality Godhead suggests that he wants to enact the pastime of the churning of the milk ocean, and the goal he specifically has in mind is to obtain nectar. Right, that's what the demigod's goal should be for churning. So the demigods then proceed to actually speak to Bali Maharaj, who's the head of the demons asuras, and we see Bali Maharaj is instantly ready to accept the proposal as well. He's ready to accept the proposal of working together because he himself intends on cheating the demigods. That, okay, yes, we'll work together, we'll get the nectar, but we'll take the nectar. So the question arises here, what's the difference between the demons and the demigods? They both want to cheat each other. The difference is that the demigods are cheating based off of the Supreme Personality of Godhead advising them to cheat, whereas the demons are cheating purely because of their own self-interest, their own sense gratification. So the demigods, demons start working together. They try and bring the Mandara mountain to the ocean of milk, but in doing so, it's too hard for them. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead basically puts the demons, the demigods, the mountain on the back of Garuda, and they all come to the ocean of milk. And in order to churn the mountain, you need a strong rope, and that rope is Vasuki, the great snake. We can see here at various points how the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always ready to help the devotees. The devotees, the demigods, are putting the endeavor in as asked, as requested by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead is then there ready to help and support that endeavor. So what examples do we have here? One is, well, they tried to lift the mountain, but they struggled to bring it. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead helped with that. As the chanting was beginning, the mountain began to sink because there was nothing below it to support. So what did Vishnu do? He incarnated as the tortoise, Gurmadev, held it from the bottom. But again, when we think about chanting, well, if there might be something at the bottom, but if it's not stable, then you need something at the top to hold it down, to make it fixed. So again, the Supreme Personality of Godhead holds it from the top as well. And then through the pastime, the demigods, demons, they're like huffing, puffing, they're like really exhausted by all this effort. So what does Vishnu do? He's encouraging them through actually enhancing and empowering their energies through the modes of material nature that they're situated in. And then when even that's not working, even though the endeavor's there, the demons are there, the demigods are there, the empowerment is there, even that's not working to produce the nectar. So Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of Ajita, he himself decides to start churning, right? He himself starts vigorously churning the ocean so that the nectar is produced. And what's the first thing that comes out? It's the halahol poison. And here Shiva is then requested even by Vishnu to drink the poison, right? So the question is, well, okay, Vishnu's present. He's done so much already in the pastime. So why does he need to go to Shiva for this? Why couldn't Vishnu not take it? And it's described in the purports that actually Vishnu enjoys when his devotees are glorified, right? And this is the exalted position of Shiva, that Vishnu wanted him to drink the poison to be glorified. He's a Vaishnavam Yathas Shambhu. He's the greatest Vaishnava. And so Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, wanted to glorify the aspect of Shiva. And it's not that Shiva just listened to the request and drank the poison. He himself took permission from his wife, from Bhavani, before consuming the poison. And we can see here how husband and wife together, they worked together to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Shiva is such a great personality that he voluntarily took that suffering on for the suffering of all the people, the demigods and demons and all the three worlds. So that ends day one. So day two is titled The Churning of the Ocean, and this covers chapter 8, verse 1 until verse 31. The key verse is verse 23, and that's, in this way, after full deliberation, the goddess of fortune accepted Mukunda as her husband, because although he is independent and not in want of her, he possesses all transcendental qualities and mystic powers, and is therefore the most desirable. So at the start, because it's a 3-day seminar, I thought it would be good to actually do a recap of the previous day's sorts of events. So probably something interactive where it's a recap of the backstory, so what happened, and also the recap of Shiva consuming the poison. But specifically here, I'd probably add one more thing, and that's just calling out, because we're going into the actual what comes out of the ocean itself. It's worth noting that the first thing that comes out is poison, right? It's an endeavor of the demigods and demons, but the first thing that comes out is poison. And that's the way many endeavors, even in Krishna consciousness, comes out. The first thing that comes out is the struggle, is that difficulty in the endeavor. And that's something we can learn here from the poison, is that for every great endeavor, there's always going to be some difficulty up front that we have to tolerate, that we have to push past. If we give up now, then we've just lost what we could have achieved, the nectar that we could have achieved. So the second thing that comes is the Sorobi Cow, and this is taken by the sages. So here we could really glorify the position of the cow, especially now in relation to Krishna, the importance of cow protection, the duty of Vaishyas. And in fact, Krishna himself is described as the cow protector, right? Nama Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmanya Hitaya Cha. So could really elaborate on these points. And specifically because it's the Sorobi cow that's called out here, there's an opportunity to actually discuss and describe the uniqueness of what a Sorobi cow is, right? And we can reference the Brahma Samhita 529 here around how the Sorobi cow is a cow where you could milk as many times as you want, and you can get as much milk as you like from it. And from this, we can see the opulence that the Sorobi cow actually brings. Next comes the horse for Bali Maharaj and the Airavat elephant for Indra, along with 8 other male and female elements. And here we can see that Indra had actually listened to the advice of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He listened to the advice of the seniors, whereby he could have been very greedy and gone, no, I want the horse. But he was patient. He listened to the advice of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, saying, let the demons get what they want. And in doing so, when Indra conceded to that higher plan, Indra was benefited by his patience. If we think about it more logically, more properly, then the demons were overpowering the demigods. So actually, Bali Maharaj had no reason to give Indra anything. But because Indra was patient, he didn't cause any tension. Indra got what he desired as well. Next is the Kaustubha money and the Padmarga money, gems, which Vishnu took. We could describe a few pastimes related to them. To be honest, I couldn't find much on the Padmarga gem itself, so I don't know if there is anything there. Next is the Parijata flower for the celestial planets, the Apsaras for the heavenly planets, and then the big second topic for the day is the goddess of fortune, who's described as she was somebody that everybody desired, the humans, demigods, demons, the sages, everybody desired the goddess of fortune, her beauty and everything. But the other aspect is that everybody wants material wealth, right? So that's why she's so desirable. But we can see, even as the pastime unfolds and within Christian consciousness, we can see that actually wealth is best situated in the service of the Lord. So Indra, the waters personified, the land personified, cow sages, all the personalities in the pastime practically, other than the demons and asuras, they serve, they ornament, they worship the goddess of fortune, you know, to give her a nice place to sit and everything and so on. And we can see from this how to really honor Lakshmi Devi, how to really honor women in general as well. And then we can see as the pastime unfolds how Lakshmi is actually never existing without Narayan. How? Well, after all this worship, after all this ornamenting, etc., Lakshmi Devi starts roaming around. She starts looking at everybody with the idea and the mentality of trying to find a suitable husband. She sees many exalted personalities. You know, there's Munis there, there's the demigods, there's Indra, Brahma, Shiva's there as well. All these great personalities. But it's described that in each and every one of them, there's always something which is undesirable, something which is lacking, right? They're all great personalities. We don't demean them in any way, but there's something that's lacking. And so she finally approaches Mukunda and desires to accept her as her husband. And we can see here that when we search for the topmost, right? If we go out and search for the topmost, we come to Krishna and nobody else. Shiva's not the topmost, Brahma's not the topmost. There's always something lacking in them. But as soon as we come to Krishna, there's nothing else. There's no one higher. And Vishnu doesn't require anyone either, but it's his special mercy that he actually accepts his devotees and gives them that position that they desire. So the final two things on this day is how once Vishnu accepts the goddess of fortune, there's a great celebration. And then afterwards, as the churning continues, Varuni, who's a prostitute, comes and Bali Maharaj takes her to control the drunkards. But as I think some of you have seen my classes, so I like to give teasers at the end of days. So a teaser that I'd give at the end of this second day is verse 31. O king, thereafter, while the sons of Kashyapa, both demons and demigods were engaged in churning the ocean of milk, a very wonderful male person appeared. So to end day 2 on this, just to get the audience to start thinking and like questioning, maybe even read up on the pastime. So day 3, Lord as a woman. And this covers chapter 8, verse 32 up until chapter 12, verse 47. And I've got two key verses for this day. First one is 8:37. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who always desires to fulfill the ambitions of his devotees, saw that the demigods were morose, he said to them, do not be aggrieved. By my own energy, I shall bewilder the demons by creating a quarrel among them. In this way, I shall fulfill your desires to have the nectar. And the second one is 9:11, which is, after the demons heard the words of Mohinimurti, who had spoken as if jokingly, they were all very confident. They laughed with gravity and ultimately they delivered the container of nectar into her hands. So again, we'd have a recap on day 2 and calling out specifically that we ended day 2 with the appearance of a wonderful male person. And that person is Dhanvantari, who's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who appears with nectar. And there's a nice elaborate description of Dhanvantari's appearance, who looks exactly like the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And also we could give a bit of background of who Dhanvantari is as the inaugurator of like Ayurveda and medical sciences. So even though he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the demons steal the nectar from Dhanvantari's hands and the demigods become morose. And so the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Hands up. Questions?
Jai. Hare Krishna.
Questions. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Okay, you have 3 questions. Dinpan Krishna first, second is Deepa Mate, third is Sureka Mate. All 3.
Thank you, brothers. Too. I was waiting for your wonderful presentation.
It's 21 hours.
Long time no see. Prabhuji, I have a very small doubt. In the purport, like in the summary of the 7th chapter, Prabhupada has first mentioned the poison is a Kalakuta poison, but in the verse number 18, it's mentioned as a Hala Hala poison. So, can you just give some insight? What is actually is it the same thing? I think the poison is the same thing, but why Prabhupada used as a Kalakuta and why and the verse it was called Hala Hala? That's it.
No, that's a question I had, but I will be honest, I didn't get time to research it. So I don't know the answer. I don't know if Ratan Prabhu, anyone does.
Next question.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Your classes are always very enticing and I can't take my eyes and ears off your class. So I have a generic question, but also specific to this session. Demigods are devotees. So then why we have so many pastimes where Indra is puffed up, getting chastised by everybody, offending so many people. Even on earth, a king is considered as representative of Lord. Then Indra being the king of demigods, why doesn't he display the most exemplary behavior? Is my doubt from long time. I got an opportunity to ask you if you can.
Okay. So my understanding comes from actually not this pastime, but the pastime of Govardhan Hill, where Indra is described as, yes, his material opulence is puffing him up, but actually it's to glorify the Lord's pastimes that this actually takes place. That's one element, but the other element as well is to showcase to us that even if we're great devotees, material opulence can always bring us down. And that's kind of described in this pastime of, I forgot what verse it is, but when it's described about the Rasa Muni and Indra.
But he should learn sometime now, Prabhuji. In Vritrasura he had, in Govardhana he had. In every session that we do, there is one story where Indra is puffed up and he is being chastised. So he should learn from his experiences. Why is he not learning? From now, I'll not be puffed up anymore.
That's why he's Indra.
Then why is he like not degraded down to the hellish planets? Why is he there in the demigod?
Indra is a representative of a karma. He is a Misrita Bhakta. He has material motivations. And so we can see, actually Krishna teaches us from his example that if you're a devotee, practicing devotee, but at the same time you have material motivations, then you will be like Indra. A very clear example that even he might now this attachment for women or attachment for post and positions are such powerful that one does not hesitate even to fight with Krishna. You can see that. So we have seen that this opulence of opulence and especially the opulence of Indra is such that he's so attached to that position that he wants to always protect that. There is always insecurity within Indra that his position might go away. And just to protect that, any devotee is performing, any person who is performing some tapasya or some austerity, Indra will try to create obstacles and try to pull him down. he has insecurity. Forest post, or he will go away. What will he do? So, because of that conditioning, that nature we also have. It's not that through Indra, it is actually our own nature is reflected. So if we are not practicing pure devotional service, that is what is going to happen to us also.
So that's why he is within the heavenly planets and can't go to the spiritual world.
Heavenly planet is also in the material world. It's a
That's
big
what.
deal. And people here and people in UK are the same. People in US are the same. So similarly, the heavenly planets, what's the big deal?
Got it right. Thank you.
There is the material world. There are people who are practicing Krishna consciousness. If we are here, or therefore we need to understand that we have got this opportunity here on planet Earth to practice pure devotional service and finish off our business and just get out from here. Because even if we go to higher planetary system, this is what we do. We have to see all these people. Indra is a respected devotee, we offer him respects, but we will be very rarely will get association of pure devotees. The pure devotees are here. They're coming to preach here on the planet Earth. And what the different in different locals in the above, there are devotees. I'm not saying they're not devotees. There are devotees, but you won't get the Premi Bhaktas so much. They will be there definitely, but not like we can find it here. That's why demigods also aspire to come here and take birth and practice Krishna consciousness. People in Satyuga, Dwapar Yuga, Treta, they want to wait. The sages, they want to wait to take birth in Kali Yuga because of the advantages this age has. So we need to understand Indra is in that position, and so we can see our own reflection in Indra. We should see that and take lessons from him. Take lessons. But if I also desire material opulence, material posts, material positions, this is what is going to happen to me. I'll be so much attached to that post position. Oh my God, as if that is everything. We see so many devotees. Just if they get a position, they are so attached. They don't want to give it up. And if it's for some reason that post position goes away, oh my God, as if everything is devastated, everything is finished, everything is over. So yeah, so we can see our situation also like that. Same way. Yes, Sureka Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, it's my doubt from a long time. Why Lord Vishnu took incarnation of tortoise? Because he is almighty. He can just hold his hand and the mountain won't be able to. I think you understand my question. This is my doubt in Vara Avatar also. Why did Lord took Vara Avatar only?
So with Varaha Avatar, right, I'm going to answer backwards. We know that there's a part of the pastime to describe how the Lord can also take the most abominable incarnation and glorify that, because the Lord is still glorious. With the Kurma Avatar, I haven't read anything around it, but I'm guessing it will be in the Lagu Bhagavatamrita, I think, right? But I've never read the book yet, so I don't know with specific regards to the tortoise incarnation. But yeah, I don't know if Pratisans Prabhu, because
What do you want me to answer? It's done, right?
yeah, so Varahadev, I can answer because I know that's in the pastime as well. But I've never heard the reason for the tortoise specifically.
One of the first reasons which you gave, that Lord appears in every species. We know only a few, but actually Lord, whatever species we have, the Lord appears in every species. So we are only aware of a few. But he's actually appeared in like lion. Narasimhadev is there. Kurma, Varaha, Vatsya. So he covers everything. Yes, we are aware in this this time. We are only aware of few, but actually it comes in every species. Yeah, that's what I can say.
Prabhuji, my personal understanding is that I've never read anywhere. This is my personal understanding that why these incarnations say Vara Avatar, है ना? Vara is the only species who can go under, dirty water and this. And in tortoise has hard body, na? So Lord wants to show us somewhere that you should do your karma with your nature, according to your nature. This is my personal understanding. It may be wrong, but somehow
We can derive so many meanings like that. It can be derived if whatever if it's authentic and whatever inspires you. We can derive unlimited. That's what our acharyas, they have written commentaries and given us different angles of understandings, different angles of vision to see a particular subject matter. That's why we have writings of the acharyas. Okay.
Just commenting on that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Prabhu. Just commenting that. But then in the pastime, Vishnu himself just takes 1,000 hands forms to hold the mountain from the top. He could take the elephant form, hippo form, or something like that, right? Just to prove the heaviness, to use that. So yeah. No, sorry, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Navish Prabhu, thank you so much. And listening to it, because this is something which was most cherishable. Yeah, I just wanted to know, Prabhu, as you mentioned about. So there was a discussion between Bali Maharaj and Indra regarding churning. So before the churning, so he didn't agree because already he has occupied. So what was the reason which happened over there? What was the discussion which happened, which led Bali Maharaj and the demons to come to the side that, yeah, they agreed for doing the churning of this ocean?
In the Bhagavatam, there's not much of a discussion that takes place. So it's described that the demigods have come and the demons want to kill them because, Shatrus come, right? So you're just going to want to kill them straight away. But Bali Maharaj sees that they didn't come with an intent to fight. So Bali Maharaj gives them the pass and then it's just a few exchanges that's about, okay,
Yeah,
do this.
correct.
But Bali Maharaj's intent is that, they're so weak. The demigods are so weak. So we can easily work together to get the nectar and then we'll take the nectar. So that's why Bali Maharaj basically accepts that, yeah, I'm fine with working together because like the snake and the mouse, right? Bali Maharaj is thinking he's the snake and the demigods are thinking they're the snake. But ultimately the snake is only Krishna. So, and Krishna is on the side of the demigods. So, yeah.
Also, the demigods came to Bali Maharaj on the desire of the Lord. So
Yes.
So Bali Maharaj understood that it Lord wants. Bali Maharaj is a devotee.
Yeah, correct.
Lord is sending them. And
Bali Maharaj is a devotee. Yeah.
So when Lord is sending the demigods, now try to understand that Bali Maharaj is in principle a demon. I mean, principally, he's born in a demonic family, and he has some duties to perform as a leader of the demon. That is fighting. That he has to fight with the demigods and all. But Bali Maharaj internally is a Mahabhagavat. He's a pure honor devotee of the Lord, and the Supreme Lord had a discussion with the demigods and sent to go and seek help from them and do it together. So who will say no? Like Indra, the Supreme Lord,
Yeah.
Indra to go to Dadichi Rishi, and Lord told Indra, go and ask him to give up his body, and when he gives up his body with the bones, you can make a Vajra, a weapon out of it, and which will kill Brahaspati. So which will kill Vritrasur. So initially, even Indra did not believe. First of all, why are you sending me to Dadichi Rishi? Because there is history between both of them. He cut off Dadichi's head and all. So Indra was confused. My dear Lord, why you have to send me to Dadichi? He actually prayed to the Supreme Lord that Indrari Vyakulam Roke Mrodayanti Yuge Yoge. And that, my dear Lord, I'm disturbed. So you please take incarnation and kill this rascal Vritrasur. But Lord completely refused to kill Vritrasur. He said, I cannot kill Vritrasur. He did not give the reason that he is a Mahabhagavad, is my devotee. He did not give the reason. But he said, I will not kill Vritrasur. This time you have to manage on your own. I have to manage on my own. How? To go to Dadichi and ask him to give up his body. What are you saying, my dear Lord? Who will like to give up his body? You just go and tell, I am asking him, give it up. Really? And he actually gave it up. He actually gave it up. So Lord, when the devotees know that Lord is asking that, give it up. What's the problem? If someone comes and asks, if your spiritual master is the Lord of your life, and if he says something, will we not do it? We'll do it. When the Supreme Lord is asking us to do it, we'll do it. Okay, Prashant Prabhu. Go ahead with the last question.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. Okay, I have very fundamental question on this nectar. First of all, why the demigods need nectar? They know that there is no use of this nectar. Even Indra don't know that like it is a temporary position. It could be some million years, but they know that it is a temporary position. And I really don't understand why God is supporting all these things. That was very, very fundamental question for me actually, quite some time.
Okay,
I'm not sure whether you followed my question, Prabhu.
Yeah, so why is nectar required? So as Sundar mentioned, right, and I think Dina Pavan Krishna Prabhu, oh no, sorry, Pratsim Prabhu also mentioned, Indra, even though it's a state of all of us, right? We know the material world is not full of happiness, it's the Kala Mishashtam, but still we try and find happiness in the material world. We know we don't get happiness, but we still try to find happiness here.
No, Prabhu, but the point over here is Mohini Avatar came and Mohini Avatar started distributing nectar. And that all part I don't understand, because by taking nectar, are they alive forever? So the whole purpose, I'm just trying to understand the complete purpose of this entire event.
Nectar, when it's translated, is described as immortality, right? It gives us immortal life. But actually the nectar, I don't remember which pepper is, but nectar is actually a longer life in this material world, right? So it's not that you become immortal in this body. The body just has a longer life. So that's the first thing. Second thing, the Lord, which I mentioned in the class, the Lord is supporting it because if the demons are in power, then all the three worlds are in a turmoil, because the demons' intent is purely selfish. Yeah, whereas the demigods, because they're meant to be devotees, they're acting for the welfare of everyone. So there's prosperity, there's happiness that comes.
But if they are real devotees, they should not be expecting nectar, because they know that they are eternal, they are soul.
But
We don't know that. That's the problem. We know
but
it.
They are demigods, Prabhu. They are demigods, Prabhu.
That is the problem, na? That is the problem, the demigods.
The prime minister, the president, they know that the position is going to get taken, but they still try and stay in the position.
Now, try to understand the opulence of the demigods is so much that what happens, let us take our example. When we go to the temple or we associate with a sadhu, we spend a good amount of time with him, hear Harikatha from him, and we develop so much renunciation. Right now I'm going to go home and chant 64 rounds. And we go home and we do it. The next day, 16 is better. So that's what happens. If that is our situation, so demigods are also like that. They are devotees. There is the Lord's management. They take darshan of the Lord also.
That is what I'm wondering. Because taking the action itself.
But they have material desires in their heart. They're not loving, they have some sukruti to take darshan of the Lord because they're demigods, Lord's management. Then the Lord's management, so Lord will definitely come and meet them. That they have. But if you ask about even the demons see the Lord. So when Lord was here on the planet, so many people saw, everybody saw the Lord. Right? It all depends on how you approach the Lord. The way you approach if as Indra you only want post and position from the Lord, you'll get only post and position from the Lord. As a disciple, if we have desires in our heart that I want to go to America, Gurudev, help me. Gurudev, I want you, please help me get married. So if the disciples also go and approach of material things, it will be okay. If you want this, take it.
Okay. So even if it is silly thing, this entire thing, nectar, still God supports because they want.
They want it. What to do? They're also devotees.
It's like a chocolate. Nectar is also like a chocolate only.
Yeah,
Nothing more than.
yes. What will nectar do?
Exactly. That's what I was wondering.
So, but it's an illusion. We are also an illusion. We are running around like donkeys throughout the day and night, working hard to make up some money. We know. जो यहाँ लिखा है वही आने वाला है. But still we work hard. And we want to earn more and more and more and more and more. अरे उसने कार लिया तो मेरे को भी लेना है. He has bought a car, I should also buy a car. Material desire increase. We know very well as devotees also, but still we don't have that adhikar for pure devotional service yet. That's why whatever we are, so we are in a certain situation and we should practice. That's why we should associate with Srimad Bhagavatam and hear the life of the devotees in Srimad Bhagavatam, and then aspire to become. If you hear from them, naturally, if you hear about their life and activities, naturally we will develop a desire to become like them. And we can see the suffering of Indra throughout the Bhagavatam. And the intelligent devotees, they will take the lesson. But imagine the position of Indra, who is the king of the demigods. His situation is like this. So why should I aspire for anything material? Better I should become to become a follower of Prahlad Maharaj or Pandavas and others and perfect my life. Than to be like Indra. We are also like Indra. We are also going beyond tiny things. We are Indra. We are also like that. We are yet to become a follower of Prahlad Maharaj. We are yet to follow in his footsteps. So our situation only is reflected. Nothing else.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Hari.
Feedback, please, Prabhu.
Okay, let's start the show.
Feedback, please, Prabhu.
Feedback. Awesome.
Something else, Prabhu.
So yes, it is it's the most difficult subject matter to condense. And you did it very nicely. Most difficult. Actually, all the subject matter to condense in 20 minutes is most difficult. But you all are doing wonderful and beyond my expectations, frankly speaking. All of you are doing beyond my expectations. So it is very nice. So this is going to help all of you a lot.
So I want to say something.
Yes, sir. Tell me.
Like when I heard that I have to cover the 3 days seminar within half an hour, believe me, I was out. I was completely out because it's not possible for me. I went to one temple and they asked me to give a class only for 20 minutes. I straight away refused it. I said I take 20 minutes just to do the subject matter. So I cannot give class. But when I see the devotees here, they are giving classes within half an hour, I was again shocked. Then I got inspiration when they can do, then I tried. I could have It is not possible. But I really appreciate all the devotees, how beautifully they are summarizing the class. Today's seminar within half an hour. It's still, even today's Bajaj class, I was thinking he won't be able to cover up. Even yesterday's class, that Pooja Mataji, the way she started, I thought she also won't be able to cover. But they have covered finally.